Are indie horror festivals still where the next wave of genre chaos is born? Or has that energy finally moved somewhere else? What's up, people, and welcome back to The Final Cut, your daily post in horror. I'm Travis, and it's Wednesday, January 14th. We got a packed midweek episode today. We got some indie chaos, real-world horror vibes, and one of those fun, cursed, what could have been moments in franchise history. But before we cut into it, quick shout out to the sponsors that keep the lights on. Over at Grove, physical media collectors are eating right now. Steelbooks, collector's editions, and deep catalog genre titles are constantly rotating. So if you're trying to lock in horror the own it forever way, that's where to look. And at Fanatical, pre-orders and bundles are still the move, especially if you like grabbing horror, sci-fi, and survival games at a discount before they drop. No gimmick, just smart pickups. All right, let's get into it. First up, Slamdance Film Festival is officially back in Los Angeles for year 2. You know, we were out there last year covering it. And the 2026 lineup feels like a dare. Running February 19th through the 25th in person and then virtually through March 6th, Slamdance pulled 141 films from over 10,000 submissions, with 50 world premieres spanning more than 50 countries. But for HMU readers and horror fans, the real story isn't the numbers. It's the genre DNA backed into this lineup. This year's slate is crawling with horror-adjacent material. Shorts built around possession, paranoia, body unease, tech anxiety, environmental dread, cult energy, and that specific, this isn't horror, but it definitely feels like it vibe Slamdance does best. Titles like Deadweight, The Fan Man, and The Chair lean into claustrophobia and object-based dread. In Sickness and in Health brings post-exorcism psychological horror. Domestic Demon and Correct Me If I'm Wrong flirt with transformation, identity, and spiritual unease. Even the animated shorts are swinging hard. Forest spirits, sleep paralysis, burnout as possession, and self-help culture turn demonic. And then there are the documentaries. East Palestine fallout, wildfire contamination, real-life disasters that hit like horror without needing a monster. Slamdance also continues to put its money where its mouth is. Nearly half the lineup from female, trans, and non-binary directors, strong BIPOC representation, and full accessibility backed into the festival design. This isn't just a festival, it's an incubator for the next wave of filmmakers who don't ask permission. My question for you guys is, when you look at Slamdance, are you chasing the occult and possession titles first, or the films that swear they're not horror, but absolutely feel like it? Let me know your answers in the comments ahead. Next up, let's switch gears for a second. New Jersey is home to Missy's Main Street Café, a horror-themed breakfast and lunch spot that fully commits to the bit. We're talking horror decor, horror-inspired menu names, and zero irony about it. Michael Myers Melt, Leatherface grilled cheese, Texas Chainsaw turkey burger. But here's the key thing. It's not a gimmick trap. The food actually looks legit, and it's community run, and it's built around regulars becoming family. It's the kind of place that reminds you horror isn't just something you watch, it's culture, comfort, and shared language. They're closed on Mondays, but otherwise open most mornings through early afternoon in Rockaway, New Jersey. My question for you guys is if your town had a horror cafe, would you want full immersion or just subtle nods you can catch if you know? If you know, you know. Let me know your answers though in the comments ahead. And finally, here's a fun piece of alternate universe horror history. During the development of Halloween H20, the filmmakers actually asked Mike Myers, the other Mike Myers, to do a cameo. The idea was simple. He walks past Jamie Lee Curtis on the street. She gives him a confused look, and that's it. He said no, which is wild because if he'd said yes, it would have quietly connected Halloween, Wayne's World, and Scream into one of the weirdest meta footnotes in horror history, especially since Dana Carvey already had a blink and you miss it role in Halloween 2. Instead, H20 ended up using a clip from Scream 2, which creates an entirely different continuity headache. But that's late 90s horror logic for you. Still, it's one of those reminders that even tiny cameos can completely change how we talk about a movie decades later. My question for you guys, do you prefer horror franchises that lean into meta jokes, or should some universes stay clean and untouched? Let me know your answers in the comments ahead. Today's take, what stories all have in common, today's stories, is ecosystem. Slamdance shows where new voices come from. Missy's Café shows how horror lives outside the screen. And that H20 story reminds us how fragile canon really is. Horror isn't just movies, it's community, memory, and the choices people didn't make as much as the ones they did. And that's why the genre keeps surviving every reinvention. That's it for today's episode of The Final Cut, your daily pulse in horror. If you're watching on YouTube, hit subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify, vote in the poll and drop a comment, man. We want to hear from you guys. And for all the people who have been, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And if you've got a tip, rumor, or festival title we should be watching, DM us at HMUNCUT. I'll be back tomorrow with more horror news you actually want to hear. Until then, you guys know the drill. Keep the lights on.